The region counts the cost of last night's storms.
I live in a bungalow about half a mile from the sea, and it was battering all night long.
We usually get the gales, but this was really a cracker last night.
Super, thanks Tony.
But first tonight, the forecasters warned it would be severe, and last night's storm lived up to its billing. At its peak, gusts of 100 miles an hour were recorded, and today many found themselves counting the cost of the damage.
Blackpool had some of the strongest winds and some of the worst damage. This evening, the council is facing a huge bill to replace the illuminations which were lost in the gale. Our reporter Stuart Pollitt has spent the day in the town and joins us now. Stuart.
Thank you, Ranveer. Yes, this time last night as the storm was brewing, I probably wouldn't even have been able to stand here on Blackpool's promenade. And it turned out to be a dramatic and expensive night for homes and businesses right across the northwest. Along this stretch of coastline, the weather claimed some well-known victims as the winds reached 100 miles an hour at the top of Blackpool Tower, which in itself was one of the buildings damaged. However, the worst hit landmark was the town's illuminations. They only stopped on Sunday, but last night the damage caused has left the council with facing a huge repair bill of up to £1 million. Costly casualties of the big storm. A brutal night has left its mark on some of Blackpool's most famous sites. The worst damage to the illuminations was here, just to the north of the town centre, where some of the more costly, complex and creative designs are housed. For example, this Alice in Wonderland tableau, which has been completely ruined, is worth up to £200,000.
This is the worst we've seen since the early 90s, in those gales in the early 90s. We don't normally see wind speeds of up to, I think it was about 95 miles an hour recorded on the tower. And, you know, usually the illuminations are designed to be robust during high winds, but unfortunately not quite this high. The ones that we've mostly lost have been the kiddies' nursery rhymes and children's ones, where to some extent some of them are going to be lost forever, unfortunately, and that's a shame.
Blackpool Tower was also damaged. Sheeting around the building was whipped off, forcing nearby roads to be closed. A few miles away, a Lytham landmark also bore the brunt of the weather. The town's windmill had one of its sails blown to pieces.
Last night I was called out early evening to say that the mill was suffering damage, and I came up and actually one of the sails was breaking up when I arrived. And our main concern was the danger to the public, because pieces of the sail were flying all the way down the green.
There's another one looks very loose, but some of the wood that's come off looks a bit rotten, so that probably didn't help.
In November we usually get the gales, but this was really a cracker last night.
Throughout the region, the weather had taken its toll. A wall was blown down in Birkenhead. This was the scene at a house in Bebbington on the Wirral. Darwin's famous landmark was this morning without its dome, and many woke up to find roads blocked and cars damaged. So it wasn't just the people of Blackpool counting the cost of a wild night. Well, the total cost of the damage across the region won't be known for a while yet, but just to give you some idea of the scale, the cooperative, one of the North West's largest insurers, has already received some 300 claims for storm damage. As for the illuminations, they weren't insured, and those damaged displays are unlikely to be on show next year, such is the cost of replacing them. Back to you, Gordon and Ranveer.
Thank you very much, Stuart Pollitt there. Well, for many, the worst effect of the gales was a broken night's sleep and an untidy garden. I certainly had one in Preston, and you lost the...
I lost the aerial.
The TV aerial.
Couldn't watch breakfast telly this morning.
Yes, but some woke up to something more shocking. Graham Liver has been to a street in Delph where residents had a lucky escape.
This is what the people of Gatehead Mews in Delph woke up to this morning. Last night, strong winds brought down this 100-year-old beech tree, landing in neighbouring gardens and on top of a car. Local residents told how the weather kept them awake.
I've not had anything like that for a long time, and obviously being surrounded by trees here with still some leaves on, the creaking of the branches against each other and the rustling of the leaves was just incredible. The sound was phenomenal.
It must be at least 5 or 6 tonne, at least. In fact, not more. So, yeah, if someone came under here, they wouldn't have stood a chance. Or even driving under here, they wouldn't have stood a chance.
As the job began at removing the tree today, thoughts went back 2 years ago, when a similar tree collapsed on the other side of the road into a house.
It's happened before. And a lot of these trees like my sycamore here, past the maturity, they're very dangerous. that we should be allowed to take them down. I'm a garden lover, a tree lover, but this should go. But I can't allow that. They won't allow me to do that.
How worried are you about
Very.
this?
How would you be? I mean, it's a huge tree, and my neighbours are as well, and I feel concerned and responsible.
Graham Lytham, BBC North West Tonight, Delft.